Good morning, fellow members and guests. Project 5 is Use Your Body, and it was a toss-up between a floor routine and a speech, which is called Flying with Abbott and Costello. We have a very important election coming up. As many of you know, it's between Americanism versus globalism. And the media is showing how biased they are, and we all know that by now. They'll spend 20 seconds on discussing Hillary Clinton's latest lies and cover-ups, and 20 minutes on something Donald Trump said as a private citizen 11 years ago. The media coverage for Donald Trump is 91% negative. No matter what side you're on, that's not okay. The government wants us to re-elect the politicians who give us the same results. They say that unemployment is 5%. But actually, there are nearly 95 million Americans who are not working, and therefore they're not included in that figure. The labor participation rate is the same as it was in 1977. If the 95 million Americans aren't looking for work, they're not counted. There are nearly 49 million Americans on food stamps. Poverty and crime are exploding. And the national debt that had been accumulated from George Washington to George Bush has been doubled in the past 7 years. Lastly, the core durable goods orders have been contracting for the past consecutive 20 months. Who can believe the media? Who needs some comic relief after that? For those of you who don't know, Abbott and Costello were a comedy duo in the 40s and 50s, and they had a 22-year relationship. They were considered to be America's greatest comedy team, and if you don't know Abbott and Costello, surely you've heard of their baseball routine, Who's on First. It's a classic. And I found that I had a lot in common with Lou Costello. They have really helped me through many things in life, providing humor in a lot of tough, discouraging situations. And Lou Costello was a lifelong patriot, and he also was able to become so successful because of free market capitalism, which is the greatest economic system in the world. Free market capitalism provides equal opportunity for all, not equal outcome. There's a big difference. And it's especially apparent because they were not educated. In fact, Bud Abbott left school at the age of 10. They didn't speak grammatically correct English. Nobody cared. They were absolutely beloved. Luckily, they were also very prolific, and I ended up buying 35 of their movies, and I watched them in consecutive order. So I was on a flight to Chicago, and the movie was called Keep 'Em Flying in 1941. It was black and white. And it was great to see America celebrated as the greatest country the world had ever seen back when we won our wars. And the movie starts out, I'm sitting on in my seat to Chicago. My seatmate is flying back to Beijing. The movie starts out, it's black and white, with a stunt flyer. And I thought, well, this might have been a very bad choice for me. Or maybe it could work out. It's hard to know. Because the movie starts out with the flyer doing lots of crazy things, and the plane's moving right to left, and of course, in a few minutes, it's upside down. And I had to admit that whatever was happening, I was down to two fears: that I would be so traumatized and I wouldn't be able to fly, or I would start laughing. The good thing was that we were flying pretty straight and definitely upright. So Abbott and Costello in this movie are unskilled and completely inexperienced mechanics, and they're working in the Army Air Corps. And they're fooling around, and they get into a plane that they thought had no engine, and Bud pushes a button, and before you know it, they're airborne. And Lou suddenly gets very cold, and he has to get out and get his jacket. Well, luckily they have a biplane, because otherwise it would have ended a much different way. And the mayhem is going on. He gets back into the plane head first, crashes through the skin of the plane. One wheel falls off, another wheel falls off. We're flying, and I'm laughing. And my seatmate is glancing at me at this black and white film, and me laughing, probably thinking he's happy to be going back to Beijing because Americans are crazy. But I am flying and laughing, and that has never happened before. And in subsequent flights, I watched the rest of the movies and forgot about this, but when turbulence hit again one day, I noticed the same feelings that started to happen in my body, and I felt nervous, and I was looking around and up and down, and then suddenly I looked outside the window because I thought I heard something. And I thought I saw Lou Costello on the wing of the plane, and we're flying a 747. And nobody seems to react in any way. So I didn't say anything and I didn't alert the flight attendant, but I thought I saw Lou Costello out there. And then I smiled and then I laughed, and we were in turbulence and I was laughing. It was pretty amazing. So they've helped me through many, many situations in life, providing lots of humor. As much as I want to ask, whenever I board a plane, I never ever ask if Lou Costello has checked in first. Thank you. Okay.